a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Welcome to the Restricted Section, the podcast that will wrap you up in a cozy blanket of not giving a fuck. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about this week. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 25, Shell Cottage, in which we plan a heist. I'm your host, Christina. With me today is my friend Takenna. Say hello to the listeners, Takenna.
Hi, listeners.
I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Season 7.
Yeah, I can't believe you're so far into the book already. It feels like I just did this.
I completely agree. And there's kind of a lot of chapters left. There's not even. There's like 10 chapters left. And my little audiobook icon says I'm almost 75% of the way done. So
Wow.
we are hurtling towards the end of this book. Takenna, you have not been on for this book yet.
No.
So tell me about how you feel about Deathly Hallows compared to the other books in the series.
So, I mean, I feel like most people, I've definitely read this book a lot less than the other ones. Because it was done and I didn't need to.
Yep.
I don't know. So, I've ruined my brain for Harry Potter lately because all I've been reading is fan fiction. Instead, I've been dissociating with it.
It's the only ethical consumption of Harry Potter these days.
I really liked it as a teenager when it came out. And I was like, oh, this is a cool way to end the story. And now I'm just like, none of this makes sense. Why did this just happen in this book? And
Interesting.
Yeah. And I haven't been reading the book. I've just been listening to the show because why would I read the book? I did read this chapter, obviously.
Sure.
And I don't like it.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, all right. We'll dive more into why you don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Let's get into it. In case you guys are wondering, Brooke's having a hard time getting Frey out of bed.
Oh.
That's whenever there's only 2 people on the pod, it's like, what happened?
Especially because I'm just like a rando.
You are not a rando. You are an integral part of our community and our guest list.
Thanks, Christina.
Do you guys like how I say our, even though it's just me?
It's like the royal we.
Yes, exactly. Also, happy 9/11, everyone.
Oh my god, oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
It is 9/11, LOL, but like not really. But okay, wait. Not LOL, very serious day of remembrance. But if you want to LOL a little bit about 9/11, head on over to Burn Before Reading because we have a special over there for you guys.
Oh my gosh, you have to. So many. The crazy pipeline of things that happened because of 9/11.
Seriously, not the least of which that I thought I could write a song. I couldn't. Spoiler alert, I could not.
I can't wait to hear that.
Thank you. Yes, I hope you enjoy it. I hope everyone enjoys it. Okay, so let's get into Shell Cottage. You can tell it's going to be a doozy of a chapter. We're at a seaside cottage. They're all stuck up in Shell Cottage. Harry B. Doughton, he's like shocked by his own decision not to race Voldemort to the Elder Wand, as he's never, ever, at once in his life, not done the dumb rash thing. This is the first time.
It's true. The whole series.
He's like, who am I, Hedwig? What am I?
It's such a dumb plot point, though. It's so funny because they're discussing it, like Ron and Hermione both being like, why didn't we go after it? Like, you're worthy of it. Like, Ron being all intense to him, being like, we have to go get it. And it's just like, why did they do this? Like, why does he even care? Like, why is he into it?
Well, I think maybe because Ron, while he's developing in a lot of ways, he maybe like doesn't understand that like raw power is not the main thing we need right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. And they are talking a lot about like, what if Dumbledore meant for you to figure it out and go get the Elder Wand? And it just continues to frustrate me that they're instead of trying to formulate like their own plans, they're like trying to decipher a dead man's bad plans.
It's so frustrating. It's so bad. It's like, why? If he wanted you to know, maybe he would have told you.
Exactly. And I guess I didn't give them enough credit because this whole chapter is about them doing their own plans, but they still like are really preoccupied with what Dumbledore would have wanted.
Yeah.
And like, this isn't the same thing, but like my late grandma who passed away 2 years ago, if someone was like, well, Christina, she really would have wanted you to I don't care what she would have wanted, as this is my life and she is unfortunately deceased. So
Yeah.
like maybe we'll do my thing.
No, there's lots of things that deceased people I know would probably want me to be doing, and I'm not going to do those.
I'm not going to do it. So one day, Griphook summons Harry via Fleur, and Fleur is not happy about it. Everyone is racist, so it's okay that the author is racist against Griphook, because everyone in this story is racist against Griphook too.
Even the French.
Even the French. Well, of course, the French, they're terrible people because we are the British.
Gosh.
So Griphook says he will help Harry in exchange for payment. And they're like, word, I'm rich. Pay you, I will. But Griphook wants the Sword of Gryffindor. They go back and forth about who has the right to the Sword of Gryffindor. The trio is like, but we're Gryffindors.
Just super dumb.
Yeah, it is really dumb. Nobody cares about like what team you were on in high school, dude.
Like, I found it in a lake. It's mine.
Strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
So Griphook reveals that the sword was taken by Godric Gryffindor from its original owner, Ragnar the First. And this is like information given without context. The context comes later in the chapter. But if nothing else, it's like this was taken.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like a gift. This was violently taken.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, this chapter could have been so interesting, but she just tried to make Griphook seem like the worst person ever.
A villain.
Like, so that all of the racism against him was justified.
Yeah,
And
totally.
like, oh, he's terrible and he's weird, and so that's why we all hate him. And he wants to take the sword that we need.
Literally, and these British people are like, we don't give things back after we steal them. That's not right.
That's not British.
That's not British at all. Yeah, literally when Harry walks in the room, the book is like, Harry hated this guy so fucking much he couldn't even begin to describe it. And it's like, bitch, why?
Yeah, it's like, and then, you know, Flora being like, oh, I hate him. And then you're like, well, he does seem kind of like a bad house guest. And I'm like, why did she do this? Why did she make him so awful to be around? Like, why did she choose to write him that way?
And like, okay, is he a bad house guest? What evidence do we have that he's a bad house guest?
He wants to eat in his room, and he eats different food because he's a different species.
So some cultural differences point to him being a bad house guest. Do you want to know something crazy? I have an uncle. You know, he's the weird uncle, not in the threatening way, just in a weird way. Weird uncle. Everyone's got at least one. And my whole life I've been like, damn, he's weird. He's a bit standoffish, doesn't have a lot of warmth, but he's always been very nice to me. But he has never ever once eaten a meal with us ever. Like, he always seemingly grumps away in another room with like a beer. And my whole life I have thought that he hates our guts and doesn't want to eat with us at a table. But I learned like so recently that he has like a swallowing disorder and he doesn't like to eat in front of other people.
Yeah. Oh.
So like, what if Griphook has a swallowing disorder?
Well, maybe he doesn't like them judging him for eating his raw meat and fungi.
Right. Which, how dare anyone judge him for eating raw meat when this is Bill's house. He's a fucking half werewolf.
I know, and later she's like, Flora has to cut up the meat for Bill and Griphook because it's cool that Bill does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Harry, Ron, and Hermione leave the room to discuss this. Grip Hook's demands. Ron racistly says that's just goblin bullshit. They're just different and bullshit and full of lies.
Oh my gosh. They lie about everything, and it's like when you hear a different story from history and people are like, but that's not the history I learned.
Right.
It's like, yeah, because that's always true.
Well, and then they turn to Hermione and they're like, what do you know from your studies? And it's like, oh yeah, I'm sure that her studies are very like nuanced and balanced. But even on top of that, Hermione has no historical evidence for like this theft.
Yeah.
Like that's what they ask her about, like the theft of the sword by Gryffindor from Ragnar the First. And she's like, there's no historical evidence. But okay, so at least she says, but like wizards gloss over that kind of thing.
Yeah.
She doesn't say textbooks are written by the winners. There's a narrative here that has been told with bias. But she does say wizards wrote it. It might not be accurate.
I did like the response she gave, that she was like, I can't tell you because I only have what I've been told, and they don't talk about that. Like,
yeah.
And why would they? Why would they, like, say, oh, we stole the sword?
And especially, I guess, like, Professor Binns. He's so old he's dead. Like, he's not telling, like, progressive history.
No way. They have the same textbooks that were printed 50 years ago. Like,
yep. The top name in that textbook on the inside cover says Tom Riddle. So Ron is like, what if we double cross him? And Harry's like, that's a great idea. Let's trick him.
To be fair, Harry's plan of double crossing is a lot better than Ron's plan when he was just like, let's give him a fake sword. And Harry's
That's
like,
dumb.
that's how we know there's a fake sword there, is because Griphook could tell it was the fake sword. Like, this is a terrible plan.
Let's give the drug dealer fake cocaine. I think maybe he's like the first one to know that it's fake.
Well, it's even worse. It's like if the drug dealer handed you a bag and is like, this is just baking soda. And then you were like, let's give him the baking soda and say it's cocaine.
Oh my god. Okay, so Ron's not the brains of the group.
No, not at all.
What they don't do is tell him the truth at all. They don't give him the opportunity to agree to this consensually. Like, hey, we'll give this to you when we're done with it, swear to God. But like, we literally need it for this war that is making you have to be on the lam right now. Like, we will give it to you, but here's why we can't give it to you right now. They don't even consider telling him the truth.
So, I mean, like, the only thing I can think of why they wouldn't want to tell him the truth is because it would tip him off to their plan to, you know, not give it to him immediately. But yeah, what if they did? What if they tried? He could have still said no. They could have still tried to do it anyway. But I think the same thing would have still happened.
What I would have done is been like, Griphook, we need this for this current war, this current conflict that is affecting you. We need this to overcome it. We need it to destroy. You could even lie and say this is the only thing that can kill Voldemort.
Yeah.
It's not a lie, even, really. It's just like an extended truth. You know, like you're skipping a couple of steps there.
That would give like a deadline too, that like upon Voldemort's death, we will give you the sword.
Come find me the day after Voldemort dies. I will hand this to you. Yeah. And then if he says no, still, look at him and say, Griphook, you're a smart guy. What do you recommend we do then? If these are your terms and we're united by this goal, what do you recommend I do?
Yeah. I mean, they could offer him like collateral or something too. I don't know what collateral they could give him though, which is the other issue.
Yeah, interesting. They probably could come up with something interesting to give him that we don't need anymore because it has served its purpose.
Like even like the locket.
The locket, they could give him the Deluminator, which is like unique magic.
Do they even use that again in the book?
Maybe not.
So yeah, they could totally be like, keep this. We want it back. It's really awesome.
Give me just 1 second. Brooke is asking for the logon information, so that's cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hello, Brooke.
Hey.
Hello.
Takenna, Brooke, have you guys met,
I
actually?
don't think so.
I don't think so. I've heard you, I've obviously seen you in the Discord server, and I have heard you on various pods. Big fan of your writing, but only your early work.
It's so bad. There's so much more of it, too.
No, I feel you.
Leela and I keep being like, let's bring Takenna back on, and then being like, we really should bring on anyone else.
I'll come back.
I have just sitting on the shelf the musical I wrote on the bus in 8th grade that is just... I don't know if I have the strength to touch it, honestly.
All right. Well, when you find that strength, you
I
come
know,
to me.
right? Sorry, how far are we?
That is quite all right. We were just at the part where we were wondering why the trio doesn't even a little bit try to tell Griphook why they need the sword. They're just like, let's lie to him. They go straight to lying. Any take on that, Brooke?
I mean, here's the thing. In terms of going straight to lying, right? Like, it's mostly just that they're teenagers. Like, that's that frontal lobe not developed all the way
Sure.
quite yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
also, I mean, how much would Griphook care? Like, isn't it a running plot line that a lot of the goblins are, like, pro-Voldy?
Well, he's currently on the run from Voldemort. That's how he ended up in this situation. So they have shared interests, and it is always a little frustrating to me when characters be like, "We have a shared interest, but I'm still gonna make you do this thing for me to help you."
Yeah, he does feel like the kind of dude, though, that generally is more worried about goblin kind than individual stuff. You know what I mean?
Sure, I would agree with that. I guess just first of all, like 10 seconds ago, they were like, "We deserve this sword. We're Gryffindors," and then they turn around and decide to lie to this guy nobly. Like, it's just very. It's like, what are we doing?
There is a lot of equivocating in this chapter.
What do you mean by that? I don't use that word.
Now I'm afraid that I'm using it wrong. But, like, equivocating...
equaling things?
Yeah, is like, I have heard it as used kind of connotatively as, like, yeah, falsely linking things to things.
Like false equivalency.
Right. So it's
Okay.
like, hey, you know, like, we're gonna be, like, giving this sword to him, but, you know, it's fine because we're gonna do it the way we need to do it, and that's okay. We're still truthful. We're still good because we have found a way
Not a
that,
lie.
like, you know, this equals this.
Yeah.
Like, my personal sense of morality is intact.
Yeah.
Sure. But I just like, they're like, oh, this isn't even a lie. We're going to give it to him. We're just not going to say when. And I just still feel like if you're entering into a conversation intentionally to mislead someone about your intentions, that just is a lie. Like, even if you don't say the lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say that anybody that's ever been promised anything has, like, a certain amount of understanding that it's going to be soon, right? Like, if you were like, hey, I'm knitting this shawl for Taylor's wedding, but I'm just, you know, I'm knitting this shawl for Taylor. It could be for her wedding, but I'm not going to tell her when I'm giving it to her. It's
Oh my
like, you know what I
God.
mean? Like, there's
Brooke,
an
that's
expectation.
that's like that one time I was working on a children's book and I reached out to an illustrator who was so excited to work with us. And then they insisted on no deadlines. And it was like, oh, then you could just never do it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's not how this works.
I was also thinking as you were describing it, Brooke, that I was like, this is such a teenager thing. That it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I'll tell my parents that I'm going to Brooke's house. And we'll go to Brooke's house, so it won't be a lie. But then we're going to go to this party. But I didn't lie, because I went to the house that I said I was going to.
I have literally done that exact thing as a teenager.
Oh,
like,
totally.
that exact thing.
So you were saying it, and I was just like, this is a teenager thing. This, like, this technical, I didn't lie. I did the thing I said.
I would probably say we would love to give this to you, and we 100% will. The moment that Voldemort is dead, now we can offer you 2 guarantees here. We can offer you collateral that we will trade you for this sword the second Voldemort is dead. Or if you have some way of, like, guaranteeing that, You want to do an unbreakable vow? Why not? Let's do an unbreakable vow. That's something that exists in this universe.
Can
like,
a not
I would
wizard
make him.
do an unbreakable vow?
Huh?
I guess they could do it with each other. Like, they couldn't do it with Grickput, could they?
I feel like they probably could.
It just depends on if you're the author and think that this goblin is like not a person, or if you're nice and you think that the goblin is a person.
This is like such a wild. This whole chapter to me is just so wild. Like the entire plan is garbage.
Yeah.
The fact that they've decided to like just be like, we three teenagers should determine like who owns this sword. Like, we should be doing forensic anthropology to figure this out.
And
you know what I mean?
And our basis of who owns this sword is our friend who did really well on her history AP test. Like,
right. Well, and then, you know, the end of the chapter, not to skip ahead, but Bill definitely is like, hey, just so you know, like, goblins think that anything they ever made is just theirs. Like, regardless of if it was given, regardless of if it was purchased.
Yeah.
It's, like, heavily implied at the end of this chapter that that Griphook probably is just like, well, we made it, so it was stolen from us, and actually it was probably, like, bought.
Yeah.
yeah.
And this is framed as a bad person thing and not as a cultural difference thing.
Yes.
I always took Bill as meaning, like, cultural difference, and almost that he's annoyed that other wizards don't try to understand the cultural difference.
From Bill, I do get that vibe, because you have to, I think first of all, I have faith in Bill. He's Weasley, you know, he's got empathy. He's if frontal lobe fully developed.
Yeah.
And also, like, he works in this job. This is his field. And I just like to think that he wouldn't have been successful if he didn't think that he was working with other people.
Yeah.
But, like, also, just throwing it out there, couldn't Bill have helped them plot to break in?
Oh, sure. They sure fucking... Oh, my God.
If they would have told him.
Just
I
ask
can't tell
anyone,
you, Bill.
Ask anyone a single question to help with this. Oh, my God. I'm so tired of these fucking kids.
No, it's because it's Dumbledore's intention that they don't tell anyone.
Yeah, and his word is law. I saw this post online, as one does. I've seen it a couple times, and it was like, I'm so fucking sick of, like, a teenage chosen one. Give me a 40-year-old mom who's seen it all and is fucking done. Make that bitch the chosen one.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
She would ask for help.
She would be like, I need my community.
But also potentially a very boring story if everything was well reasoned.
Sure.
I forget what it I don't know if it's still online, but there was like a version of Harry Potter that was available online for a while where instead of the story being what it is, at every decision point in the story they did mathematics to choose the most logical and like highest percentage chance of success option. And saw how it changed the story from there.
I love that. Because they are getting by by the skin of their teeth at every single turn. They're just barely making it out against all odds.
I mean, literally, Harry is like suffering ego death right now. He's literally just like, what if I wrong? What if I wrong?
Well, he's in the perfect place for it, staring out over the cliff into the ocean.
At the ocean.
For days, contemplating life.
They go back in and they lie to Griphook. I mean, you know, they don't lie to Griphook. And Harry shakes on it. And what good is the handshake of a Gryffindor if he's going to lie to you by omission, Harry Potter? So they start planning the break-in. Griphook, he's been in the Lestrange's vault. It's deep. They're an old family. Old money runs deep. Harry doesn't like Griphook. That's a cool detail that we get a sentence about. Harry doesn't like him, and it's probably not a racism thing. It's probably because Harry's a really progressive, open-minded person who sees Griphook as a fellow person, and they just don't get along in an earnest way that has nothing to do with any one culture being prioritized over the other.
They keep making snide comments about, like, his living conditions. They're like,
I know.
He needs raw meat in a dark room. And I'm like, well, he's a goblin.
He's a goblin.
And then in the next sentence, they're literally talking about how Fleur is making Bill's raw meat. Because Bill is
Yeah,
also
This
eating
is a raw
meat.
meat
It's just like,
household, okay?
We're totally fine with it though because Bill is mostly good and only a little bit infected by werewolf.
He's hot. That's the difference. Bill's hot.
It was just like really wild to me. I was like, and then it'd be like having your like friend over who's like vegan and being like, Jesus, fuck with all your carrots.
that's not as bad as a food allergy. I can't serve food to people with food allergies. I'm too nervous.
Oh, that's scary, yeah.
I have a friend who is allergic to milk, eggs, tree nuts, and peanuts.
Too scary.
Right, and you're like, I can't cook for you.
And I once endeavored to make him a curry for like a special event.
Oh my god.
And it was panic inducing. I don't know how he lives his day-to-day life like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw someone who has like a timer, and whenever they eat any food ever that they haven't prepared themselves, they take one small bite and then set a 5-minute timer. That is probably really good for learning like delayed gratification.
I guess so.
I mean, it's better than going into severe anaphylactic shock.
Yes, agreed.
Also, but that floor's like when Ollivander leaves and she's like, oh, now we can shove Grip Hook on the couch. It's like, oh, that's so mean. He had to take like medicine because his legs were all broken.
That is mean, but I feel like that might be like a single man thing more than anything else because our friend Andrew, you know Andrew, you all know Andrew, everyone is constantly being like, Andrew will be fine on the couch. And that's just not nice. Like, what if he wants to sleep in the bed this time? What, does he need a wife to sleep in the bed?
And then
Or a vagina?
Haley is the exact opposite, where we always try to arrange a bed for her, and then she resolutely sleeps on the couch.
That seems like Haley.
Yeah, she
Like,
thinks
that's
she's
not a
too
surprising.
sharp to share a bed with her. She's kind of right.
Yeah.
Her elbows are really sharp.
I would also be that way because I move a lot in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can sleep next to my spouse, but if I was sleeping next to someone who has not slept next to me, I'd be like not sleeping because I just like I'm gonna move too much and wake you up.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good bedmate, but watch out for my farts.
Yeah, I snore, so
Mm-hmm,
that's the thing I know about myself because it's been reported to me many times.
My snoring was really, really bad, but then we got rid of all the carpet upstairs, and now it's
Interesting.
And I got a new pillow.
Oh,
And
yeah.
apparently now the snoring has stopped.
Wow, incredible. Maybe I'll make Sean get a new pillow.
I'll send you a picture of my pillow. It's weird.
Oh, is it
I love
designed
it.
to prevent snoring?
It's like for side sleepers.
Oh, okay.
So it's like bumpy and has like
Yeah.
places for your arms to go, and yeah, it's weird.
I would love to see a picture of that. I'm picturing like a pregnancy one, but like even more.
I got it on Amazon, so I could look it up.
No stress. Yeah, they basically just keep harping on how weird and selfish Grip Hook is, and it's just this is like a classic example of a part of this story that I would not want my child to just read and accept without me talking to them about it. Like, oh my god, the pillow. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
okay.
It's smaller than I thought it was. Okay. Yeah, that looks ergonomic as fuck.
Yeah, I like it.
Wow. It's got curves.
Yeah.
Also, they forced this dude to come share a table with them despite the fact that he's like, I don't prefer this, and they hate him.
They hate him okay, it doesn't say openly, but I feel that it's openly.
The vibe feels open, and they're like, hey, you know, like Fleur put her foot down. She was like, we're not gonna keep bringing him a plate. And I'm like, why?
He's literally like bedriddenly injured.
Like, why? Like, why is that such a problem?
I do feel bad for Flora. I think she's really stressed.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that Fleur's in a bad place, but I think that her putting that on Grip Hook instead of her husband is the problem.
Yeah. But she's newly married and doesn't know how to be mad at her spouse yet.
He's so hot. I just want to reemphasize that he's just really hot.
Yeah, no, he's
And
like,
she wants to keep her hot husband who had to stop working and is home all the time happy.
Like, fucking him is her only joy right now. Only just kidding, because I think Grip Hook is like in their bed.
Maybe that's why she's like, get on the couch.
Get on the couch. They're doing a lot of late night beach fucking, which is not as fun as it sounds.
Yeah, especially when it's a cliffy beach. And you've got a freshly dug grave out there.
But you're a newlywed, you're stuck in your house, and all of a sudden there's all these teenagers and, like, random old people in your house.
Teenagers and old guys, yeah. You know what? You know what? You know what? Somebody could easily, Bill and Fleur should take the tent. That is a big, nice tent. Just get on out. Take a couple nights, go sleep in the tent.
It's also almost like when someone visits your house, but they brought an RV, and then they're like, we're still going to sleep in the RV because our bed's in there.
Yeah, I was going to say Harry, Ron, and Hermione should sleep in the tent, but they've been there for kind of a long time. Maybe they deserve.
But they're also like,
maybe it's
they are
gross now.
currently sleeping on the couches. This is what it's not better.
Oh, you're right. It's not better.
Yeah, they have beds. They could put beds.
Weird. No one's thinking right now.
There are just so many options. I also think that this is really just a moment of like, with the exception of Grip Hook, it's a bunch of people just kind of like clinging to each other, being like, I recognize that you're human. I am also human in this moment, and it just feels nice to be human together for a little while. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone but Harry is feeling that way. Harry's like, please stop humaning so close to me. I'm trying to think, and it's taking all my strength.
Harry Potter is such a big dumb jock. Every time he's in a stressful situation, he's like, there are no balls, I have no power here. I can't throw anything, I can't kick anything.
So one evening, Harry apologizes to Fleur, and this is when she's like, oh, Ollivander's leaving for Muriel's this evening, so the bed thing, Harry's like, oh, we'll figure that out later. Harry's like, actually, we're going to be leaving soon, too. They have dinner. Bill takes Ollivander away. Ollivander takes with him Fleur's wedding tiara to return it to Auntie Muriel, which is, like, so cute. That's how you would talk to, like, a 5-year-old. Okay, buddy, I have a really important job for you. It means a lot. Can you please take this tiara to Auntie Muriel?
I mean,
and he's like...
he's been trapped in a basement for months, so...
I know. Gotta give him something.
He might not be all there.
I think I'm like
important.
I'm like maybe most worried about Ollivander. I genuinely don't think he maybe should have survived this.
No, probably not. Also,
realistically,
I'm sad that he didn't really explore. Like, I was getting like, like young prodigy vibes between him and Luna's relationship, and I was like, she should have gone on to be like a great wand maker. That would be a
very cool
job
feel
for her.
Yeah.
And instead it's like, he's like, I greatly value you and your intelligence. And she's like, same. And they're like, high five, this never comes up again.
It is implied that Grip Hook is like coveting this tiara as it is passing before his nose. He's like goblin made, and Bill is like, yeah, and magicians paid for it. And I think this is Bill, like, establishing a boundary, like, I totally understand where you're coming from, but this, like, is a family heirloom to us, and you've never laid eyes on it until this day. So it's actually gonna go back to Auntie Muriel.
Yeah.
Sorry, just cleaning my glasses, the better to read this dumb conversation with.
That's all right. We do get, like, one little, like, dribbly drop here of, like, Luna being like, Dad's building a crown that's a replica of the diadem of Ravenclaw.
And everyone is like, shut up, Luna. Shut up. You're crazy. You're insane.
Yes, but also it's like clearly this is what the author considers to be an Easter egg.
So stupid.
Of those... Do you remember 3 chapters ago where you were at this guy's house and he had that weird hat with the fruit in it? Like,
yeah.
3 chapters ago, not books ago.
No.
They have her saying this in the same breath as she's, like, denying that the crumple horn snorkax or whatever exploded. So it's like a crazy sandwich. And in the middle is the crux of the finale of this book, and no one can see it.
That's all right.
Also, like, diadem. That's a word I learned from this book.
Oh,
like, who knows
100%.
that word?
But it should have been, like, so Harry knows that he's looking for another founder artifact that
Does
he
he
doesn't
know
about.
that?
Kinda. Yeah, so that's like the whole thing. They're like, the cup, the locket, something of Ravenclaw
Oh,
or
yeah, because
Gryffindors.
his vision of the Hufflepuff cup, that was last year. Oh,
Yeah,
that wasn't
and
a
so,
vision,
like-
that was a memory.
Yeah, but it's like,
So
so like this is his list of things. And so why is Luna talking about something that sounds like a real thing and he's just completely
like,
dismissing Luna?
Fuck off, you idiot. Because what he should have done is said, Hermione, why don't you make a note of that and we can look that up in one of your 500 books that you're carrying with you right now.
Or just, what's the diadem of Ravenclaw? And Hermione would probably be like, oh, that was a real thing.
Like, not even, yeah. He's too distracted.
He checked in on potential goblin ownership and shady wizardry on the Sword of Gryffindor. He used the Hermione fact checker. But, like, yeah, someone drops something that sounds important and he's like, huh. Dinner's been weird lately.
He's like, Griphook likes the dark and I hate it.
Also, I do have one comment to make about the dark, because they mentioned that the room has red curtains, and that does not feel like a floor decorating move. There's nothing less French than a seaside cottage with bright red curtains.
Yeah, red is certainly
That
the
makes
wrong
no
color.
sense.
They're like,
Makes no
it
sense.
made the
Blue or
room look
white?
drenched in blood, and I'm like, yeah, fucking weird that was the design choice. That's not
Yeah.
Griphook, yo. That's whatever Fleur and Bill decorated this fucking cottage with.
Yeah,
Because
that's weird.
you're stuck at a cottage for like, they've been there for like at least 6 months, and you're gonna stare at those curtains and not just like tear them down and have no curtains at bare minimum.
Like,
You don't have any
Like,
neighbors.
Red curtains. Not like
Yeah.
luxurious red velvet. They're like the sun kind of shines through them and makes the room look red. I'm like, so they're not like blackout
Polyester.
shades. Like they're like cheap red linen curtains. Like, girl, get those out of there.
Yeah, what on earth? What a
Feng
choice.
shui is bad.
So somebody is here. And I love all of the men being like, it is I. Every time that somebody rocks up, all the men have to be like, it is I, Remus Lupin. One time I kissed a boy in 5th grade, but I didn't really like it, and I only told my friend James, or like whatever
Yep.
secret they have. Which he doesn't even tell a secret this time. He just says like very general facts about himself. Okay.
Yeah.
anyone would know.
Yes, none of the things he says here are proprietary information.
And I hate basically every single word from this point until the end of the chapter. I hate it.
we gonna talk about it.
I
We gonna
am-
talk about it. Wait.
I was livid
Wait.
reading this.
Wait. So Lupin bursts in and it's like, Tonks had the baby. I'm happy about that now. Okay, now go.
hate it.
Tonks had the baby. Bitch, where the fuck are you? This couldn't wait.
You can send an owl. That's not something the Death Eaters can use.
Yeah, you know where my husband wasn't moments after I gave birth? Some random person's house. Like, it's not even like he knew Harry was there. He
And
just
he-
rocked up to Bill and Fleur's house.
He
to tell
does,
them.
yes, he rocks up to Bill and Fleur's house and he stays for more than one bottle of wine.
For like a while. Dude,
Like,
you
I would
know,
say at least like an hour and a half.
I had a C-section, fun facts for the listeners, and literally my husband looked between me and the baby because he was unsure who to go with, because they have to like take the baby away to like weigh them and stuff like that, and he literally like looked at me and was like, and we were all in the same room.
No, I lost 2 liters of blood, so I had to go back into the operating room to be like sewed up. And it was like, my husband wasn't gowned because I wasn't getting a C-section. So they're like, you stay here with the perfectly healthy baby. You stay here with her. And yeah, like, he was not, oh, I'm gonna run over to my cousin's house to tell them the baby came.
This is like a ways away. That would be like my husband being like, oh, the baby's born, thank goodness. I'm gonna get in my car and drive down to my parents' house and just let them know.
Okay, well, he can apparate. Okay, there's no travel time.
Sure, there's no travel time, but with the amount of time he stays, it would be similar.
It is, yes, you're right about that. And like, surely this can wait for like tomorrow, you know?
Days. Yeah, I can wait.
It feels very old school to me because Tonks right now is living with her mom and her dad is recently deceased. And it feels very like, men don't belong in the birthing room. Like, he was like outside.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, I mean, I'm glad everything went well because it definitely seems like this was a necessitated home birth situation. Like, I don't think she could have showed up at like St. Mungo's. I don't know if wizards deliver babies in hospitals. We never really get that backstory. No idea. But like, you know, even in like a really good birth, like smooth, everything goes well. 80+% of women tear vaginally. Yeah, this is what we're getting into tonight. You're welcome. Put a fucking trigger warning on it. The 80% of women tear vaginally at least a little bit. So like at best, I mean best case scenario, she's lying there with a split open vag trying to get a brand new baby to latch on to a titty. And her husband is like, it seems like you got it handled. I'm going to go drink with my buddies.
I'm going to go get drunk. Yeah. If I had just given birth and my husband came back to me drunk, I would be fucking livid.
I wouldn't be married anymore.
I haven't been able to drink in almost a year. And the second I do, and you go drink.
I wonder if Tonks was able to have an easier labor because, you know, she can shapeshift. I wonder if she can, like, shapeshift her vagina wider.
She's like, I want a hallway.
Like, give myself some really big hips.
Yeah, like, really just, like, widen it all out and, like, sneeze the baby out.
Of course she could, because we've talked about transing gender using that power. Like, I'm sure she could just give herself a really big vagina birth canal for that. Like,
right?
Open it right up.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. So she probably didn't tear and isn't bleeding. She's
probably fine, right?
She probably
birth isn't otherwise traumatic.
Yeah, you don't lose tons of blood in a normal birth. And...
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
Here's what I think. So, a couple years ago, I think book 5, maybe it was the last book. I don't care. Tonks and Lupin fell in love. I think what was happening is there was an attraction there. They started hooking up. And there was, like, an emotional attraction, too, that Tonks was interested in pursuing before Lupin. Lupin takes longer to warm up to stuff. And also he has a lot of his, like, I make everything around me horrible. I'm a werewolf. Wah. So I think he was, like, knowing that she was starting to fall in love with him, he continued to pursue that relationship physically, knowing what that was meaning to Tonks. And eventually he caved in. He's like, I do like you. They fell in love. And because they're in a war, she's like, let's get married or whatever. One of them is like, let's get married. Okay, let's get married. They're like fighting about it. And then she gets pregnant and he leaves. At the beginning of this book, the second she gets pregnant, he leaves her and tries to run away with these very stupid teenagers that we've been talking about this whole fucking time. And I think at that time, after all of this, Tonks was like, I'm seeing you clearly for the first time. I married the wrong guy. And I'm now pregnant with his baby. And he left. And I guess I'm going to have to, like, deal with that. But then he went back. And she's like, well, my dad died 1 day ago. That's maybe why he went back. My dad just died. We're in the middle of a war. And I'm about to literally have your baby. I guess you can come back, even though I don't really care about it. Maybe after I'm recovered from this birth, we will revisit our relationship. But they die before that. They die before the end of this book. So I think that at this time, Tonks is like, oh, Remus wants to go? Go. Fucking go. Go see your friends. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
I mean, there's a reason you asked me on for this chapter, and it's that I hate Tonks and Lupin's relationship.
It's terrible. I mean, it's really not a good thing about it.
To me, there was 2 characters that were both very gay-coded, like queer-coded.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that the actor playing Lupin in the 3rd movie thought the character was supposed to be gay. And, like, Tonks, like, don't get me started, she was very queer-coded.
She's just a cis woman with all those powers? She's just...
Well, writing the 5th book, the author realized that and said, I can't have gay people that could be happy in a gay relationship,
Must be
so
dead.
I have to shove them together. And
Yeah.
they couldn't even make them like good at being in a relationship.
Not even
like,
remotely compelling or convincing. And I must say, the baby is named Ted Remus Lupin. Just continuing the tradition of nobody in this fucking book knowing how to name anyone. Give the child its own name. Don't name your kid after a dead person. I'm begging you.
No, you must carry the weight of all the people that came before you.
I think Bill and Fleur in the epilogue have named their child Victoire. I like that a lot. That's great. Somebody's name is Rose. Strong name. We like that too.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Hermione was definitely like, fuck no with your guys' wizarding naming conventions. We're giving our kids normal names.
Oh yeah, because one's name is Hugo as well, if I remember correctly. Okay, yeah, Albus Severus Potter.
I will say the other thing is, like, no one else flags it either. No one's like, hey, dude, you want to
go to your wife?
Go home? Yeah, like...
They're like, stay, drink more.
Including the people that originally were like, hey, dude, you should, like, what the fuck are you doing? Don't come with us. Go home to your wife.
I think that actually... So the person who said, go to your wife the first time was Harry Potter.
Right.
And I think that actually really says a lot about Harry, how he, like, has all of these... morals, but like none of them are founded in any kind of real experience yet. So he's like, go home to your wife because loyalty and I'm an orphan. And then now he's like, you went home to her. Oh, I'm so glad you're here with me now. Like, he doesn't know that like going home to your wife includes also being there hours after she has given birth.
Like, yeah, honestly, realistically, to me, Lupin freaking out over finding out Tonks is pregnant is way more understandable than this decision to just go out and drink and, like, why is he at Bill and Fleur's house? Does that make any sense? Do people know Harry's there?
And, like, the only thing I can guess is maybe he went to the Weasleys and they are no longer there. They're at Auntie Muriel's, so he's like, I guess I'll go to Bill's, and that way everyone will know. I can't send a Patronus message. I can't send an owl, even though, like, it's not like owls aren't getting to where they're supposed to be. They might be intercepted, but saying my visibly pregnant wife had a baby is not, like, something where the enemy is going to be like, oh, that baby, like, let's go. We hate babies.
To their credit, historically, this enemy has really fucked up some babies.
No, the baby fucked
they really
up the
hate
enemy.
Those babies. They might be dangerous.
So, yeah, I mean, no one in this household has given birth or been a partner to someone who has given birth. So maybe they just are, like, not finding the empathy. I don't know.
Like, when I first read this book, I did not think this was weird.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
For
when
sure,
I first read this book, I was like, yeah, yay, they're celebrating babies.
Totally.
Because it was all like dad in the waiting room with cigars, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course he's like celebrating, like, mom's tired, but he can go out. And I'm like, that fucker.
Yes. And, like, they're just sitting here for hours, I guess, talking about the baby. But, like, literally, if you're like, well, I know that it's a metamorph magus baby, and they're talking about, like, how its hair is already changed. But let's say it was not a metamorph magus, and it was, like, a regular baby. And they're like, Lupin, what color is his hair? And Lupin's like, I actually did not look at him long enough to, like, retain any facts about him. I, like, don't actually have any details for you. Like, he was there for 5 minutes.
Divorce. I mean,
Divorce. Like, I'm like, women really ask for so little.
At least I'm so happy that Tonk's mom is with her.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, after my first birth, I was so out of it that, like, if my husband had abandoned me, like, it would have been so bad. I couldn't stand or like care or change diapers. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you definitely need a designated mom attendant.
Yeah. Like,
I like
can't
physically
imagine.
wasn't able. I was paralyzed from the like rib cage down for about 24 hours afterwards, pretty much.
God.
That's okay. It's fine.
I know that's normal, but also Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's really fun when you lose a lot of blood and then your body decides to not replenish that blood. And so I don't remember a lot about that hospital stay. Like, people apparently came to visit us in the hospital, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I probably looked great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just, like, I remember, like, hearing her, like, cough or, like, spit up, my daughter, and literally just, like, screaming my husband awake, being like, the baby's choking! And, like, I couldn't move. It's, like, little things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
also, it's your first baby. Like,
Yeah, and it's not like there's kids in this universe. Like, she doesn't have other mom friends.
no.
Yeah. I
She has
can't
her own
imagine,
mom.
like, leaving my baby to go do other things when they're that little either. Because you're just so, like, attuned. You're like, are they breathing?
Yeah.
Are they still breathing?
Lupin actually doesn't care about those things.
Yeah, Lupin does not care even a little bit.
With my second kid, my husband noticed that he was not breathing correctly.
Oh,
And, like, he had to go to the NICU. And, like, yeah.
Damn.
So, no. Stay with your partner
Yeah.
and their baby.
yeah, the fuck. I'm imagining him, like, going to, like, Arthur and Molly, wherever they are, and he's like, she had the baby. And Molly just, like, whops him across the face and is like, get the fuck out.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's why
That's
he didn't
what
go
should have
there.
happened.
He
wanted
could
to
not
go
have gone there because
Celebrate.
Molly would have strangled him.
Molly would have. He's like, talks at the baby, and Molly turns to Arthur and is like, Arthur, remind me, after my 7th, how long were you by my side? And Arthur's like, well, dear, for at least 48 hours. And she's like, yeah, 48 hours. That sounds about absolute minimum, huh?
It's like, and then you had to tend to the other children. Like, you had a
Oh, yeah.
reason for...
So, sure, they have a drink to celebrate. Remus Lupin asks Harry to be the godfather, and Harry's like,
Just
nothing
nonsense.
means anything, sure.
To be fair, he doesn't, like, ask him. He's just like, Harry, you're the godfather. And Harry's like, right. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
based on what I know about godfathers, I need to go to prison, become a dog, run away, come back, and then die?
He, like, alludes to that in this chapter. He's like, yeah, I guess I'm shaping up to be about as good of a godfather as Sirius, so...
Dude, riding a sky motorcycle is not the same as breaking into a bank. Like, those are different crimes.
Oh, bank heist.
Bill is like, Harry, can I have a private word? So they privately have a word. And this is when Bill is warning Harry against attempting to make deals with goblins. And I do think that there's room in this conversation, as we mentioned earlier, for Bill to be just very objectively being like, hey, I don't think you are equipped to do this.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot more than you about this subject. It's almost like you should have asked my advice about this a month ago.
Yeah.
But, like, here's my warning.
Here's the thing. Bill's like, oh, it's just been really hard to get you alone, but I've been noticed something going on. I'm like, sir, you could have interjected at any time. We start this chapter with Harry's many hours staring endlessly at the sea. Like,
Bill's doing a Harry
What?
Potter where he's like, I can't, if it doesn't walk into my lap, I don't know how.
To be fair, the listlessly at the sea staring happened before he started planning.
I mean,
okay.
But
True.
But he's
But,
in
like,
your house, and like, why,
wouldn't
how
you
can
have done
just
this
be like,
earlier? Like, if
Come
you're
do
like,
dishes
you're
with
like,
me.
huh, these ill-equipped teenagers are talking a lot to this goblin, and I don't think they have any goblin context.
Well, think about, like, being at a beach house with your family, like, for, like, a week, even. Do you think you could just, like, get a private word with one of them? Even if they were working really hard on a
Well,
puzzle or
and, like,
something?
Yeah.
Your baby brother is having long conferences with his friends and a goblin. Are you letting that happen?
I would definitely be eavesdropping if I were Bill. Well, if I was Fleur, I would 111%
I would be not just
eavesdropping.
eavesdropping. I would be going into the room.
Yeah, there's just, I think that,
I
I
need
think
this
we've
book.
said it enough, but it just keeps being truer and truer. that they just simply should have tapped in other people by now. They really, it's the huge disservice to them and everyone who touches any of their plans that they have not brought in any expert in anything.
Well, also, Bill and Fleur, I think, are not blameless in this, as they are, once again, the only adults in this situation. Like,
Yeah.
as the two adults, I understand you didn't want to be in charge of 3 surly teenagers who have gone through more trauma than we care to mention. But, like, at some point, you've got to be like, hey, like, I know we're not equipped for this, but we are the only people that are literal adults in this situation.
Like, Bill and Fleur are like our age. They're not like in their
Fleur
early
isn't.
20s. Okay.
Fleur
yeah.
is
Bill, okay, you're right. But
3 years older?
Bill's in his early 30s. Like, just mathematically, he has to be at least 7 years older. Okay, I'm bad at math. He's in his late... Bill is approximately, I'm standing by this, in an age that I've been in the last 5 years. I just feel like I would stand in...
they got married when he was
Fleur's
like
20.
30 and she was like 19?
Yeah, there's an age difference, yeah.
No, that's not an age difference. That's a war crime.
But you know what? That's not as bad as having that age difference and then having the other person be your best friend's cousin's baby. So there's that too.
Wait, what? Wait, pack it up. Who are you talking about?
Lupin and Tonks.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yep.
Your best friend's cousin's baby. Who's who in that situation?
Okay, his best friend
So-
Sirius's cousin Andromeda's baby, Tonks. Andromeda's the mom.
Right. Cool.
And it always bothers me because the movie makes it so much worse because Tonks is like young and they aged up all of the like generation, like Lupin and Sirius and Snape. They aged them up like 10 years. So it's just like, this is even worse. It's so much
Yeah.
worse. Stop.
So basically, Bill is like, in goblin culture, something that Bill says, like, you probably learned all about this in History of Magic. So funny. Harry learned nothing. He's learned nothing ever once in his life. But in goblin culture, it is the maker who owns the item, not the purchaser. When you purchase something, it's a loan, and it ultimately is meant to come back to its original maker or their family. And that is like not crazy. That is like not a crazy, outlandish thing. That actually kind of makes a lot of sense.
It does. It would be completely alien to like anyone reading the book, right? Which is
Sure.
why it's like, I think it's meant to be read as like well, that's ridiculous. I
Yeah.
paid monies for this.
Sure.
But it is definitely a thing where it's like, yeah, if this is culturally the way that this works, it's not saying, like Bill asserted earlier, that just because that is culturally the expectation, you have to go along with it. But if you're talking about ownership, if you're talking about possession, if that is a factor in the plan that you're making, this is a very important piece of context.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like the implication here is that the theft that Griphook is talking about with the sword might just mean that it wasn't returned to the maker when Gryffindor died.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I will say that also, that is a two-way street, and that if that is the expectation, the goblins selling them the object should probably that is a cross-cultural communication that should have been communicated both directions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Like, have, like, some sort of contract.
Yeah. I mean, but also we're talking about, like, sort of Godric Gryffindor, we're talking about, what, like, 400 years?
And it magically blips in and out of the timeline.
Yeah. There's also
Yeah.
that.
Like,
It can transport itself to bravery.
yeah, it goes wherever bravery needs it.
So, in that case, like, why struggle to get it back? Just be real brave or some shit. Like,
I mean, Griphook steals it, and it comes out of the hat for Neville by the end of the book.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel bad for Griphook.
I mean, he doesn't steal it. He takes it in what you would assume was the rightfully contractually, considered scenario. Like, he was
He did his
promised
part.
it.
Now he's getting his payment.
I do think that what Griphook does that is shitty is Harry and the and company are like, we need your help getting into Gringotts, and Griphook is like, getting into Gringotts. And I think it's shitty for him to not be like, hey, they're children. This is a learning moment. Do you also want help getting out of Gringotts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they kind of like, they both half-truthed each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're like, you'll get the sword, but you don't know when. And he's like, I'll get you in, but you didn't say out. Like, it's a lot of like bridge troll nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Griphook's plan the whole time was to be like, I'm a goblin, I'll be able to sneak out with the other goblins, and I'm just gonna leave these fools to their nonsense?
I just don't know, because why go to all this length if you're just gonna fuck it up? Just for the sword? That doesn't mean anything to him personally.
It does seem weird. Like, if he wants to have these treasures back so badly, why don't they try to get them back?
I mean, it also seems like he at least partially does want to see Voldemort fail. You know, he's like, I think he's like, this is the option that is presented to me to make an actionable change. It's not what I would have chosen.
Sure.
3 17-year-olds on a mission. But like, if this is how I can help, then I guess I will.
I mean, I forget. Did they tell him it has something to do with defeating Voldemort, or are they just like, we need something else?
I think they do, because at the very beginning of the negotiations, Griphook is like, I'm not a thief. And I think they're like, we need it for the Voldemort thing. So the chapter ends with Harry being like, would you look at that? I'm just as crazy of a godfather as Sirius Black. And that's how this horrible chapter ends.
Yeah, he's also like, maybe it's the wine talking, but I might be a bad person.
I forgot that he's drunk.
He's super drunk. He's like, I just don't think I'm good at anything.
Oh, Harry. You're not.
And now it's time for bank heist. Assemble the team. The smart chick. The dumb friend. The chosen one. This goblin.
Who is also a dumb friend. Okay. Yeah. Since we all hated this chapter so much, why don't we go around and everybody say your favorite moment? Takenna, what's your favorite moment from this whole chapter?
Oh my god. Oh no. The cottage seems really beautiful.
Oh, well, except for the red curtain.
Luna.
Yeah.
I think Luna is my favorite part. Talking about her dad's nonsense and being like, yeah, I know that horn exploded, but it's gonna put itself back together.
You gotta have faith.
So, yep, that's my favorite part.
Okay. Brooke, what was your favorite part?
You know, honestly, I always enjoy watching wizarding housework. I think that's like silly, but like Fleur magically cooking dinner and like clearing dishes and stuff is always, anytime we see it in the books, it's so interesting to me what they use magic for versus what they don't. Instantly boil a pot, magic. Stacking the plates, magic. Carrying those stacked plates into the kitchen, not magic. We're cutting meat, magic. Putting the meat into a pot, not magic. Like, I don't totally understand.
No rhyme or reason.
What the rules are. I also don't understand, and I've never heard an explanation for if your skills translate to your magic skills.
Oh, like, yeah. The way that Molly Weasley seemed to have.
Right. Could you be really good at making souffles magically and incapable of doing them without magic? Or do you have to know how to make a souffle without magic in order to be able to magic a souffle?
Interesting.
So anyhow, wizarding housework is always... I make note every time we see, like, wizard cooking, wizard housework, like, normal magic, not exciting magic, in the books of... I try to pinpoint what the rules are for when we do and do not use magic for things. And it seems to be just that the characters occasionally forget that they're magical and do something by hand that they did not have to.
I feel like one that always comes up, and anytime there's like household magic, is the knives chopping themselves, like chopping stuff by themselves. And it's like, but I feel like there'd be a spell to just be like, oh, perfectly chopped carrot.
Yeah, why are we magicking?
But
We
no,
can't
you have
explode a
to
carrot.
charm the knife to chop everything
It
for
just
you.
looks better in the movies. That's the only reason we did that.
I'm wondering if you could like get it to do anything more complicated. Like, can you get a enchanted
To julienne?
mandolin? If you're
Ooh.
grating something, are we enchanting the grater or the carrot?
I
Can you-
think the carrot.
What about the lettuce spinner? Do you like?
Do you- Do you
have a
use a
lettuce
salad
spinning
spinner?
spell?
Do you just spin the lettuce in the air and it gets water everywhere, or is there like a dehydrating? Like, can you
Oh
just
yeah,
make
because
the water
they
leave?
do that to people. They dehydrate people. You know, when they're like wet from rain.
Oh yes,
This is-
yes. Okay,
This
I
is
was
so
thinking
weird,
people
but my only
jerky.
concern with that is that I think it would cook the lettuce.
Well, it depends on if it's a heat dryer or
Because, like, I
some
feel like all
other
their
kind of
drying
dryer.
spells, they're like, oh, I'm all warm and dry now, and I'd be concerned about my lettuce being
Interesting.
warm lettuce.
We're gonna need to do some trial and error.
Are there magic cookbooks? And in the magic cookbooks, does it instruct you on spells to make food? Or, like, do you have to kind of know?
My old roommate Alexis and we had aspirations of starting a YouTube channel, but in the end, it was just a funny bit we did when we were drunk, and we were gonna call it Shit Show Kitchen. And it was when you come home drunk and you're like, I'm gonna make something, or you're not drunk and you are just insane with your friends. And I would love to see a shit show kitchen where like neither one is very good at kitchen magic, but they're like trying new. They're like, well, I remember learning this in Transfiguration. I wonder if we can do this.
Also, like, wizard restaurants exist. If you can hypothetically cook nearly everything with magic, how much concentration does it take? Or, like, do you need to hire a wizard chef? Is there a skill set associated with this? I have so many questions about base level, like, cooking magic. Because it's also a thing that they never teach them at Hogwarts, right?
Yeah,
like,
when
they
do
teach
they
them
learn
a
it?
lot of things, but all the food is magic to them by house elves. So, like, is it one of those things where it's like the classic, like, 18-year-old boy in his first apartment trying to boil a potato, like, fuck. Like, what are we...
I hope so.
Are they allowed to magic food in the dorms? I guess they have no need to, but, like, if you wanted to bring a hot plate to Hogwarts, could you?
No, because electronics go haywire.
Okay, but then are they cooking are all wizards cooking on an open flame fire? Like a wood stove?
Yep, they just barely got toilets.
But then
so.
also, do they cook? Because every time we see someone cooking, they're just like, she whisked her wand and the pot boiled over. And it's like, okay, do we not need a stove? I have so many questions.
Well, you know, that's the ultimate quality of good mom in these books is making lots of food. So
Oh, yes, there's lots of domestic responsibilities are intricately twined.
Are y'all ready to move on to plugs?
sure.
For such a nothing chapter. Oh, I forgot to say my favorite part.
Yeah,
I
what
guess
was your favorite part?
I'll do my due diligence since I made y'all say. I think probably my favorite part is Harry Potter looking out over the sea being like, I've never done the smart thing before. I've only ever done the dumb thing. I don't know who I am anymore. And it's making him ill. Like when Prince Zuko has his turnaround and he gets sick and Uncle Iroh's like, that's the evil leaving your body. Harry is like, I don't know who I am anymore. That's probably my favorite part.
Is it the stupid leaving his body? Is that what we are meant to?
Yes. But the last of the stupid leaving his body. And thank God. Takenna, what are you plugging this week?
So I had to rack my brain because, like I said, it's been a problem that I've only been reading fan fiction. But then I remembered I did read a book. It was called, besides the book club book, it was Witch's Heart. And it's a Norse mythology retelling. It was really fun. It was really interesting because I like not the same gods that you always hear about, you know, that I don't know as well. So that was fun.
Cool. My brain must be poisoned or tired right now because when you said Norse, I thought you were saying like noise with like an Australian accent. It was pretty Norse. Brooke, what are you plugging this week?
I would like to plug a book called The Other Valley, which I forced Christina to read as well. It's just like, it's a really good book. I just really enjoyed it. It was very unique. It's got time travel in it, but as Tina said, it's time travel as a setting instead of a plot device. It's very interesting. If you are fascinated by the rules and inconsistencies around time travel, but you don't particularly like sci-fi, this is absolutely a book you will enjoy.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool, unique book. I've been your host, Christina. You know where to find me. Since our last recording, I've read 2 books. One of them is called Half Sick of Shadows by Laura Sebastian. It's a retelling of King Arthur's ascension to the throne, told through the eyes of Lady Elaine of Shalott, who was an oracle. And it's written like YA friend gang, like, you know, hot Lancelot, wild Guinevere, good boy King Arthur. Like, they're all just like friends, and they're like fighting, and they love each other so much. But it's like a really beautiful retelling. And the whole thing is like based on her visions. It starts with like, this is how I'm gonna die, and it's a really cool book about friendship and fate. And I also read The Circle by Dave Eggers, which is like a utopia, like a tech utopia, you know, which
didn't that get made
becomes
into a
a
movie
dystopia.
with Emma Watson in it?
It sure did. I have not seen it yet, but I am eager to watch that movie. I've heard it's so bad. She's a bad actress. And like,
Not good.
I don't know. I mean, having only read the book, I am having a hard time picturing her in that role. But yeah, it was a very good, I read it like so fast. It's 500 pages and I read it in a day because it's just like very interesting, very well done. It's just basically about this girl getting sucked into like a tech monopoly cult. And it just escalates forever. So I highly recommend both those books. Thank you so much to the 2 of you for being here today, mommies, on the episode to defend Tonks in her honor.
We're like to bash Lupin and his ridiculousness.
Fuck that guy.
Like, literally? What?
It's not his fault. He's in a hetero relationship when he's clearly gay.
I think the next time we see him, he is dead. So does that help anyone?
It's just like, he never even has to reckon with it. Like,
Nope. Not even a little bit. Not even
he
at
freaking
all.
leaves the baby at home to go battle.
And dies. But thank God, little Teddy has Harry Potter to take care of him.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever go to therapy.
I know. Are we meant to then understand that Harry Potter took possession of this child at the age of like 18?
I
mean,
think so,
it doesn't even seem like he has a relationship with him in the epilogue. It just seems like he was raised by his grandma.
In the epilogue, he shows up to the Hogwarts Express separate from Harry and Ginny.
Okay, so we assume that Tonks' mom really stuck it out for this kid, eh?
Yeah, I guess.
Thank fuck.
All right, that's the end of the episode. Let's go kill Voldemort!
Woo!
Hell yeah. That's it, potheads. Thanks for listening to The Restricted Section. Hosted and produced by me, Christina Kahn. Theme music produced by Ryan Kahn. Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Please don't find us on social media. I am not doing anything there. However, you are welcome to join our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord server, which is a lot of fun. And for $5 a month, you get access to our monthly bonus episodes. There's also a $10 and a $20 tier as well. So please go check that out. We are honored to be part of Deus Ex Media Podcast Network, which features lots of wonderful podcasts for nerds, including this one.
Have you ever wondered what is going on in someone's head? No, this isn't an opportunity to learn how to read minds. It's an opportunity to listen to interesting conversations on content and capable. Join me every Monday as I discuss a wide range of topics with my guests and go on a journey, figuring out how to feel content pursuing our passions and capable in the complex world around us. Find Content and Capable wherever you get podcasts, and I can't wait to meet you along the journey.
Like I've mentioned, I've just completely dissociated from the actual Harry Potter canon, and I was like, I'm just gonna read fan fiction. Let's change the story. It'll be good.
Dave X Media.